Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. Tower Talk Business Radio brings you conversations with the top business minds on Long Island and around the nation, including expert consultants and small business owners who have found success, but are also willing to share their top tips, failures, and give gritty, matter-of-fact advice based on their first-hand experience. And now, let's get down to business with Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation.
Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation. My name is Ray Schwetz, AVP of NEFCU Business Services, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, the CEO of Keeper of the Brand Marketing and Digital Agency. And we're focused on being the premier resource for business and entrepreneurship.
Good afternoon. Ray and I bring you weekly business advice, tips, tools, and services that grow your business. Plus, we interview top business leaders in the industry. So, Ray, let's talk success this week.
Okay.
We live in a digital world, and successful people and brands are making a lot of mistakes. Oh, my goodness. They can't press delete on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram fast enough. The old saying, it takes a time to build a reputation and only a few seconds to destroy one is even more prevalent now than ever. I'm seeing people make constant mistakes. A brand's reputation is their key to success and revenue. So what are your thoughts on brands protecting their reputation and their cash flow?
Well, yeah, that's one thing. I mean, if the reputation is damaged, the cash flow will certainly be damaged. For me, I firmly believe that perception is the reality. So, you know, if you're known as being an organization that's helpful, that's user-friendly, if you're known as an organization that's there for the community, you know, that becomes a reality. And in Long Island, it's a small world in the business world. So, you know, people talk. So the thing is, if people are saying the things that you want them to say, if they're saying your tagline, if they're saying the message that you want to say, then that makes it a reality.
Interesting.
Yeah, very thought-provoking this today. Now, helping provide you with business empowerment today is our guest, Katherine Heaviside, President of Epoch 5 Public Relations. Now, Epoch 5 is the region's premier full-service communications firm. Epoch 5 delivers high-powered visibility and credibility for their clients. They also help clients manage sensitive issues and crises that could damage their business. Epoch 5 is an award-winning firm recognized for excellence in the PR community and the best PR campaign. And Katherine has served on the boards of several businesses, educational and humanitarian organizations. A member of the top 50 women in business, she has been featured in national magazines, daily newspapers, major daily newspapers, and appeared on national television and radio. Katherine, thank you very much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
You're welcome.
Now, all right, so to start, I have a question. So Epoch 5, what is the 5 in Epoch 5?
Well, let's look at it this way. We tell our clients after they've been with us for 5 years.
Now that's
we're not prepared to divulge it. It's highly confidential.
All right. Well, I'll have to check my sources. Check WikiLeaks on that one. All right.
Repeat business.
Now, tell us a little bit about some of the work that you do in PR.
All right, we do. Our agency has different practice areas, which means we handle different kinds, whether it's professional service clients, financial, healthcare. We handle a number of businesses to build their reputation. We also handle businesses to protect their reputation when it's being under attack. And that could be anything from a labor strike to corporate malfeasance on the part of management, to a fire. There are so many things, and as you've said, a reputation can be gone in a flash, and people spend decades building it.
So they call you the fixer.
Well, they call us, and it's not just me. We have a team of people who do crisis management. They call us, and our best work are the things that never appear in the paper.
So proactive as well as reactive.
Well, we'd like, clients to call us, and I think that's the biggest mistake small businesses and large businesses make. It's human nature. You don't want to talk about negative or think about the negative things that could happen to your business. But in fact, unless you plan, you'll be unprepared. And you really should think of it as a crisis plan is your insurance policy.
Right.
And it's a roadmap. When a crisis hits, when something bad happens, you'll know what to do, when to do it, and who in your organization can do it. So for some clients, we actually are called in for crisis plans. And then I remember that one time were called in by Brookhaven National Labs. And we spent a couple of months doing a very extensive crisis plan. We just about got finished, and they discovered they had a tritium leak under the plant. So
wow.
That was many years ago. But we did have in place a plan so that they could do the best they could with what could have been a horrendous situation.
And things happen to businesses just like they happen to us in our daily lives. So I guess planning for that is key. Now, what are some things that a company should consider when they're hiring a PR or marketing firm?
Well, first of all, they should consider experience, and they should consider who is working there that can handle their account. We are very careful. We match the account manager to the client, but we also have people who specialize, for example, in electronic media, social media, so that the account manager can turn to them to help with additional positive publicity or even protecting them from negative.
Now, are most of your clients based in Long Island, or are they New York City wide or New York State wide? Or
we're tri-state are most of our clients. We do have some clients that are out of state and some clients that are national. And those clients, these days you can handle clients that are selling in California or Dubai or Canada as easily as you can right here locally.
No, that's
but
fine.
Mostly clients want someone that they can call in, sit down across a conference table, and discuss their issues. So even though we may be dealing with clients that are sending things out of state, they really want to spend time with you to strategize, because that's a very important thing. You need to have a strategy on what they need to accomplish.
Excellent. You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, and our guest today is Katherine Heaviside, President of Epoch 5 Public Relations.
So there's a lot of scandal out there, Katherine. Without naming names, or feel free to share, but what are some common mistakes that owners face when dealing with a public relations challenge? Is it just bad press, product recall? What is in your experience, what is the most common mistake you see people make?
It isn't a mistake. I mean, things do happen that they have no control over. Labor strikes, having a rogue employee that does something, posts something on social media that reflects poorly on the company, an employee who gets arrested for. We had in one firm that the employee got arrested for essentially deceiving the people he was selling to. Well, that reflects on the company, even though the company didn't know about it.
Right. And I've been there and probably lost some hair throughout the years over rogue employees opening the mic, saying the wrong thing on the radio. So I get it. Do you find the general public is more trusting or less trusting when you're dealing with a crisis situation if you or the communications manager represents them in the press or in the media, or do they want to hear from the CEO of the company?
Well, they may want to hear from the CEO, but frankly, if they can get an answer that's complete, honest, they will. Sometimes we have to, because when a crisis is hitting, the CEO is doing a lot of things. He's meeting, or she is meeting, with attorneys, their bank, their credit union, whatever there are a lot of moving parts to a crisis. So the communications people very often step in, handle the messaging. The CEO approves it, and he or she puts their name on it, and we release it to the media. The CEO may not be the person who's actually speaking on mic. In fact, very often he or she isn't, because, as you know, people in the media can be very aggressive and rattle someone who's already under stress.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now,
we do media training, by the way.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, and that may come into our next question, which my question's more around the reputation. So we talked a little bit about that in the beginning of the show. Reputation management. So what are some of the things that you do with a company to help them build their reputation?
Well, some of the things that builds a company's reputation really has to do with them doing good work, whether it's doing good work both in their field, but also if they can do things outside their field. Now, we worked with Bethpage Federal Credit Union for probably 16 years. They're very philanthropic, so we make sure that they get attention. We just finished up the air show at Jones Beach, and we make sure that it gets a lot of positive coverage because, as we say, when you get positive coverage, when a crisis hits, people are more likely to forgive a company where they have some positive feelings about them already established. If they don't know about you, the first thing that happens, a crisis hits, they are really, they're all over you with negatives.
Yes, they are.
And then you're branded for life.
Yes, it's very hard to dig out of a hole. Yes,
sure.
Thanks, Ray.
And actually, that kind of leads into my next question. So some of the things that you would do for a company that, let's say, is in that unfortunate circumstance that could happen to any one of us.
Are you talking about who have not done positive?
Companies that, I guess, yeah, if it's a company that's done something positive, we know the answer there. It's that, hopefully that's enough to help them weather the storm. I'm thinking more along the lines of if it's a company that's not as well known. I mean, what are some of the things that they might be able to do to help manage that crisis?
Well, first of all, what we do with a crisis is we really anticipate first of all, we have to listen. Mm-hmm. We have to find out exactly what went on here. We also have to work with their attorney usually because we want to make sure that if there's a possibility of a lawsuit, we don't do anything that could make that lawsuit more difficult for them. So we work with the attorneys, and we develop pretty much a statement for the media. Then we develop a strong background sheet of the company so that people will get to know it in a much more conversational way.
Okay.
And we develop the toughest questions that could be asked and how we might answer them. And we work with the very often there's an internal public relations department, and those people are generally do very good work, but they may not have the crisis experience. I mean, I've had over 30 years of being on the front lines, everything from 60 Minutes, to
wow.
all of the major TV stations, investigative reporters. So I'm quite familiar with how much you can push the line and what you have to do to make sure that you don't throw your client under the bus, as they say.
You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio. Our guest today is Katherine Heaviside, President of Epoch 5 Public Relations. My name is Donyshia Boston-Hill, along with my co-host Ray Schwetz on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I'm 19 years old, and this is how I live united. I've always been kind of a computer geek, and I found a way to use those skills to help the homeless in my community. For people facing hard times, computer skills and a basic resume are so important. It may seem like a small thing, but it makes a huge difference in people's lives. So with United Way, I created a program where I work with the homeless. Together, we go through their whole job history, write a resume, and then save it on their very own USB drive. We